So this whole venture of making these presentations has been my attempt to flesh out the lightning path as a spiritual path that I've been kind of pioneering over the last 40, 50 years. And I really must acknowledge Dane Rudhyar and Jose Arguelles as two of my major mentors in this journey. And each of them had a component that, in my understanding, had never previously been connected. And it was my bringing of those two components together that has resulted in what I call the lightning path. So I just wanted to kind of review the trail that has led this far. So Rudhyar, as I think you all know, was a real pioneer last century. He spent more than 50 years reformulating astrology for the modern era. And he was certainly my earliest and most profound mentor. I just could never catch up with all of his teachings, but I caught up with a lot of them. And the first book that I ever connected with Rudhyar was The Lunation Cycle. And right shortly thereafter was his book, The Planetarization of Consciousness. And in that planetarization of consciousness, we have this following quote: "The concept of the cycle is at least potentially the most inclusive of all symbols, because it constitutes a frame of reference for all symbols. It enables us to situate and to give a structural meaning to any and all symbols. It answers perhaps to the most profound need of the human mind, the need to harmonize with an intelligible pattern of order and significance, ideas and beliefs, modes of feeling and behavior, which, though radically different, must all be granted an objective and historical geographical value." So this is whoops. Can I ask you guys to mute your mics at this point, please? I'm getting. Thank you. We see here the lunation cycle, which is the basic archetype of all cycles of relationship. And you'll note that there's all kinds of smaller symbols all around the circle there. These are all the degree aspects that we see in astrology: the opposition, the squares, the trines, the semi-squares, and so on. And so these are the little venues that we're able to attach our symbolic, our symbols to, all of the things that he mentioned here. So this is our frame of reference, very complex, interwoven process. And with each sector, and there's 8 major sectors here, there's a different quality of being. So we have not only a static kind of cyclic structure to pin things to, but we have a dynamic process to pay attention to. And that's exactly what we're doing with our new moon gatherings. And as we had last month, also a full moon gathering. And so we're consciously attuning to this cosmic cycle. And we're fulfilling the kind of the vision that Rudhyar had for the importance of cycles. Now, in his astrological writings, we find this notion of the highest purpose of astrology, according to Rudhyar. The highest purpose of astrology is to provide the individual human being with a knowledge of how best to act, so that the closed center of the ego may open up to the power of his or her inherent destiny or dharma. So we look into this image and we see this celestial mindscape. And this is a metaphor of the human psyche, basically. Now, within the oval of Saturn, we have the ego. And it's the transcendence of ego that we're ultimately attempting here. And so the symbolism can help us in doing that. And not only the symbolism, but the different practices associated with the symbols. And in this case, I'm bringing forth the lunation journal as an astrological tool that can help us bridge the gap between the Saturnian ego and the Uranian empowerment that comes with sustained personal practice, or which comes in the case of Uranus completely unexpectedly. So the thing about having a lunation journal practice in place is that if something unexpected does come up, we're more or less in a place of readiness to ground that experience through our journaling. When I think back to the times in my life when I've had major upsurge of new energy, some unexpected event that really kind of put me topsy-turvy, I found the journal to be really practical in helping me deal with that. Things like that unfold in a process. And if you can get a handle on the process and anticipate changes, it's a bit of a smoother journey than just the sudden Uranian catastrophes, which can be in certain circumstances. And so, and also with Rudyard's metaphor here, the symbolic representation of the human psyche, we have not only Uranus, but we have Neptune and Pluto calling us deeper. And as Rudyard puts it, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are not particularly to be related to the solar system, but they are more ambassadors from the galaxy, from galactic center, we'll say. And so there's a transcendent process underway always, and we can actually map that process to our benefit as well. And that's where we look into these trans-Saturnian planets as reflected in our birth charts. Now, Jose Arguelles, I think at least 10 to 20 years younger than Arguelles. They became friends along the way and associates. Rudyard thought that Arguelles had a tremendous destiny ahead of him, and he infused him with a lot of the wisdom of the Western European tradition that Arguelles had grown out of, or that Rudyard had grown out of when he came to America. And they became buddies, and I encountered them both at the same time. So it was a very auspicious connection. They've both been mentors over these many years. And what Arguelles brought specifically was, in my experience, the two most significant of the books shown here would be Mandala, which is him and his previous wife educating us about the Mandala principle and showing how practical it is to utilize this universal principle, and especially through artistry. But the other book is the Earth Ascending, which came out in 1985, and which was part of the prelude to the World Harmonic Convergence Ceremony worldwide in 1987. So Earth Ascending is Arguella's exposition of what the emerging science of holonomics is all about. So it's really a holistic orientation to life, and it's in this particular explanation of that, he has linked it up to the re-emergence of the feathered serpent archetype from Mesoamerica. And so what I have, gradually realized is that by embracing his teachings and connecting them with our Rudyard's teachings, the three of us, in fact, are representatives of the archetype of the feathered serpent. That this mythology is re-emerging in our time, and yeah, that's what's unfolding here. And this particular quote from Arguelles from the book Earth Ascending is very, in my experience, a kind of a turning point, to realize that, yeah, this is well, as he says here, if Earth Ascending is to be of any use at all, it will show itself as a guidebook to the dawning age. May those who have followed to this point find in themselves a seed and make of themselves a path, releasing the light so that others may know. So I certainly share that aspiration with Arguelles. And we hooked up. I was able to bring him and his wife to Calgary in 1985, and a three-day encounter. And I definitely experienced, he's 10 years my senior. He's my elder brother. And he pointed out the importance of a living transmission. So it's the difference between the kind of the academic intellectual approach to understanding Mesoamerica, let's say, and the Maya, as opposed to, as he says here, without the continuity of living transmission, spiritual traditions may seem arid and academic. It is only through a reading of symbols that a living quality may be properly transmitted. So there I am, embracing the symbolism, and I have to weave it into my own life in whatever way I can. I've been journaling from 1972 to 1986, and suddenly I have a Uranian moment, a complete energetic shift in my whole being. And it was the starting point on a journey of ascension, really. And it began at a point in the mapping of that cycle. It began at the sector 1 Emish, which is the signature of the primordial mother. So here I am after 72, from 1972 to 1986, I'm journaling and just journaling according to the phases of the moon. And then suddenly on that day, in a really uplifting, blinding kind of moment, I saw ahead that regular series of lunation cycles was embedded in an overarching structure that was the Maya Solkin. The thing that is important is to note that the scale here changes. Just as in the diagram, you see the higher, or the frequency band in blue, that's of the ongoing lunation cycles. And then overlaying that is the band of symbolism that recontextualizes that lunation cycle series. So for every new moon, there's an entry into a new sector of the Tzolk'in. And that is They go in groups of 13 moons. So Uranus, there I am having a Uranian moment. And as Rudyard says, Uranus represents essentially the power enabling man to ascend from one level of consciousness to the next. That is, to experience a true metamorphosis. And that's exactly what I experienced. Life was completely changed from that moment on. As Alexander Ruperti, who's a very good friend of Rudyard's and also an astrologer, in his book Cycles of Becoming, when Uranus challenges, one must seek the means to give a new purpose, direction, and meaning to life from a frame of reference larger than the personal ego. Passive subservience to the dictates of an unquestioned tradition and way of life must be changed into a dynamic, positive, and creative search for new and more encompassing values and goals. In doing this, the individual must not destroy the Saturnian boundaries of the self, but try to make them more adaptable and less limiting. You must be willing to allow what seem alien elements to enter. So gradually, I came to understand this path that I was on as a journey, a lightning path journey. It eventually occurred to me that the lunation cycle, the series of lunation cycles that I was tracking would come forth in 21-year series. So 21 years is equivalent to 260 moon cycles. And it's that 260 moon cycles that is the basis of a Uranian season. So there are 4 very distinct seasons on Uranus. And what we're doing here on the lightning path is actually tracking the progression of those seasons. So we're rhythmically attuning to a cosmic cycle. And in this case, it's Uranus. And it just happens that 21 times 4 seasons equals 84 years, which is kind of the generally accepted standard of a human life as far as duration goes. There's no other planetary cycle that closely aligns with that 84-year lifetime. So yeah, it's a journey of attunement. James Hillman, myths do not tell us how. They simply give us the invisible background, which starts us imagining, questioning, going deeper. And this is ultimately what this tracking the feathered serpent is all about. And there's my first 21 years as a map. This all started as a no color and no notes kind of grid. And there I am making my way through this 21-year commitment, really. I had to decide at that starting point whether if I was going to take this journey. I could already foresee, that it would take 21 years. And I made that commitment and I fulfilled that commitment in 2007. And I continued to track the season that we're in now, which is the spring on Uranus. So here we have that image of the orbit of Uranus. And we see that the leading edge of this journey I've been tracking, we're now 2023. We're dead center in the summer sector, the summer season on Uranus. Now, as far as I know, in all of my research, I've never encountered anyone else making the connection between lunation cycle, Sulcan orbit of Uranus. So this is a novel discovery. And the only way it's going to come forth into the world is for people to actually embody the principles that are involved here, to give form to those principles. But I really, personally think I'm onto something here, and we're engaged in bringing this into form. And I'm so grateful for having your company on this. That moment in '86 was accompanied by it's simultaneous to Halley's Comet coming through. It was also simultaneous to the passage of Voyager 2 past Uranus. So this was an unprecedented journey into deep space for Voyager 2, and sending back images and information about Uranus that had never been known before. And so right in that same wave of discovery, I'm getting this inner message. And it was a very momentous time. So an animation of that 84-year orbit of Uranus. So just imagine that because of the way we're tracking this, we're like on the leading edge of this little indicator going around. There's a cycle unfolding, and we are tracking it, moon cycle by moon cycle. And it's a journey of ascension, essentially. And if we look at the symbolic language that we have, the symbols of astrology, they represent aspects of consciousness, and each has its own particular quality. And as we've seen, Uranus is about the power to transform, the power to move from one level of consciousness to the next. And this particular triangle that I've brought here with the sun and the moon at the bottom, it's the lunation birthday that we've talked about in the past. The angle between the sun and the moon at your birth is a fundamental factor in your particular consciousness. And we each have our own distinct alignment in this respect. But the journey as a whole is one of ascension. Now, just in the last a month, really, I discovered this book, which I know many people may have already seen. I don't know how I missed it. It came forth, I think, in 1995. And Dr. R. Hawkins. And what we have is a map of consciousness. He has this notion, or he brings forth the notion of power versus force. And it's a spectrum of consciousness. And through kinesiology, he's calibrated this system so that low calibrations are in the areas where we have force as a vehicle of expression primarily. But there is a point when in the ascension journey, courage to go forth and transform oneself kicks in. And this is where the journey takes us more into power dynamics than force dynamics. This is a very important distinction. And his book really will educate you about that that power versus force play in action. He goes into all different aspects of society and really brings forth examples, and you start to look into your life in a fundamentally new way. He really is about establishing a larger frame of reference for our um, the way we relate to each other. And it's so much of it is about holding intent and holding ourselves unavailable to the forces that would take us down. So highly recommend this book. I'm going to be getting more deeply into this particular model. It's just so resonant with what I've already been doing. So as we have done at every other new moon gathering, we come to this point of anticipating where are we now according to the lightning path calendar. What sector are we moving into? So we're moving from 4 Kawak into 5 Ahau. And I have these particular graphics in place because of the close conjunction of our new moon to the equinox. And I won't just say spring equinox, I'll say equinox because if you're south of the equator, it's the fall equinox. So this is a global phenomenon. Right in this zone that we're in, it's a 2 or 3 day window. We have equal day and equal night all over the planet. So especially at Chichen Itza, which is where this photo is from, we have people gathering to witness a spectacular phenomenon associated with this pyramid. As you'll see shortly, there's a serpent descends from the top of the pyramid to the ground. And there's a whole esoteric teaching that goes with that phenomenon. So before I move on to examples of that, however, I just want to run through the qualities that we're now called to resonate with. The number and the glyph are a combined unit, and in order to take advantage of what they are bringing us, we need to allow ourselves to imagine the merging of those two, the number and the glyph. So in this case, we have 5, which keywords are core purpose, central intent, foundation, simplicity, place of centeredness, acceptance of humanness. Now, Ahau is the 20th hieroglyph in the series. So this is the ultimate destination on the process that brings us from 1 Emish, the primordial mother, to ultimately to 13 Ahau, which is the virtually Christ consciousness. Other keywords associated with Ahau: union, wholeness, ascension, unconditional love, solar mastery, Christ consciousness, language of light ecstasy, and limitless bliss. So these are keywords provided by the Mayan Oracle for our contemplation and integration. So 5, indicative of the center, core purpose, central intent, foundation, simplicity, acceptance of humans. And in the upper right-hand corner, we have one of Oh God, I can't believe I'm forgetting her name in this moment. Oh, this is you guys know who I'm talking about. Anyway, this is her latest uh, creative venture is to bring to image um, the numbers of the virtually 20 numbers of the sacred calendar. So this is a creative venture on her part. I'm so embarrassed, can't remember.
Is that Barbara?
Barbara Jeepers. Thank you for this. Yeah, it's getting to be that time of life. Yeah. And this is one of her previous paintings of a how done on silk many years ago. And just as in an exquisite feeling that radiates from that work. And then she's also been creating um, these seals, she calls them, for us, for our contemplation. So we have, significance, ruler, ascendance, unity, crown, flower, bliss, symbols associated, the sun, dove, crown chakra. There's the sunflower is the flower associated with a how, herb, calendula, and mullein. Now, all of these keywords are and different um, suggestions of associated qualities of a how. They're there for us as creative individuals to work with consciously. So it's like at new moon, the tools arrive and the artists get going with whatever it is that they're drawn to. And if we're doing that as a group, we start to become a whole new phenomenon where the teamwork. Teamwork is a keynote associated with a how. So as a team, we're moving together. In our case, in a little yellow submarine, kind of moving through the calendar grid, and these are suggestions for how to get the most out of that journey. As she says here, let unconditional love flow through your heart and practice the art of the heart and meditation. Our dolphin ancestors help us to open the cosmic treasure box, the Akashic records, to playfully align our consciousness with a new unity grid. So, and a shadow of a how then is to be engaged in conditional love and soulless actions, trying to control others. And so this is that whole realm of force that Hawkins speaks about. Sunflower. So it occurs to me that a natural question arises at this point, and that is for each of us to ask, what is my own central intent in this life? If one doesn't attend to that particular kind of questioning, I think one misses a lot of what's available. Because the more we dwell in what's truly authentic for us, the more we're moving, as Rudyard says, from ego into essence. We're transcending that limits of the control mechanism that is ego. And there's a much greater life available to us if we have the courage to move beyond those limitations. So Hunbat's men, the Mayan, he here explains the significance of the celestial phenomenon that we see happening at Chichen Itza at the spring and the fall equinoxes. So the Mayan, as he says, the Mayan masters teach that we are the integration of the 7 powers of light, traveling in the form of the serpent, undulating eternally with movement and measure. In Mayan, the pyramid is called Ku, the root word for the sacred Hunab-Ku, the only giver of movement and measure. Thus, when we see the 7 triangles in Chichen Itza during the equinoxes, we are witnessing a demonstration of culture which pervades the atmosphere and stones of this sacred place. With respect and humility, we should kneel before the presence of Kukulkan or Quetzalcoatl. By so doing, we will begin to awaken our cosmic consciousness, allowing Hunab-Ku to enter the sacred temples in our bodies. So as you can see in the background of this image, there is the serpent of light that has descended from the top of the pyramid. And here's a little bit of the action. Now, I don't know why the sound is not coming. I can't hear it anyway. But there are literally thousands of people that gather at the equinoxes to witness this particular phenomenon, which is just a stunning architectural feat. So I ask, is there any way those of us far removed from Chichen Itza can participate in this cosmic dispensation? And I figured that, yes, there is a way. And that's why for the last, 30 years, at every equinox, I've been balancing at least one egg on its end. And I take that to be a declaration and a redeclaration of my self-chosen membership in a global Earth community. When I think of the Earth community, I think of the community of people who are holding the Earth sacred and are bonding through ways like this, and through ceremonial ritual observances that send a message out to each other and to the world at large that there is a way to live in peace and harmony. So for me, this is a symbolic act that has great meaning. And it is a practical way for us to align with the cosmic energies of the moment at the equinox, which are unique. So where for every equinox, just hold this in memory, that wherever you are on planet Earth, on the day, and that's on the days of the spring and fall equinoxes, it's not just a single moment, a single day. There's a window here. The basic practice is to mindful of your simultaneous participation with people all over the planet. Carefully balance an egg on its end. Why? Because this is an action-oriented prayer for peace throughout the planet. And I think it was Thich Nhat Hanh that indicated the notion that when it comes to war and anti-war and so on, there is no There is no way to peace. Peace is the way. So if you just contemplate that shift in orientation, you'll get it. It's to ground peacefulness in our being and just live from that place, and to not be going for control of others. And once again, there's the Hawkins model, moving into the essential power domain that does not require people to have control one over the other. Now for the last word, and just to, I guess, because of the way this new moon lined up with the equinox, I really wanted to celebrate this this possibility of peace and harmony in the world. And the last words we'll see here are from Hopi, and they are known as the peaceful people from the American Southwest. And so this is a little one of my equinox egg balancing sessions when I lived on Cortez Island. And so we'll end with that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Kind of a choppy presentation, but I'm sorry.
Oh, very good, very good. Yeah, there's something about Zoom and sound of other things coming through it. I haven't figured that trick out yet. So I haven't used it.
And that's the first time I've had that where the sound didn't come through. I don't know. You have to research.
I enjoyed the 4 eggs. I've always balanced the 1, but I found myself, and it was nice in silence, that I could feel not wanting to knock the previous egg over, and also feeling in a rush to move to the next egg.
Yeah.
So there was this really staying in the now with each egg. I thought that was very fascinating.
Right on.
I feel that.
Yeah. You know what? Every now and then I get this feeling for this particular ceremony. And I think, you know, if millions of people were aligned with this action, I mean, what an incredible planetary moment that would be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
I know the first time I saw it and saw you do it, and then I'd never heard of it. It was just, it's amazing. When people see it for the first time, I've noticed there's this disbelief that they can find this balance. It's quite amazing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, everybody finding balance at once. How nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Just that duration of genuine peace.
I didn't hear any sound while that slide was on. However, I now have a prayer. So that tonight I'll do the 4 eggs, and not often. For me, often when I witness traditional ceremonies like that, I have a guide that gives me the prayer in that language. So yeah, now I have I thought it would be rude to turn on my mic and sing along, but maybe it wouldn't have been. I don't know. If it comes again, may I have your permission to do so?
Yeah, well, yeah. We could run it again and have you do that.
I don't know if it would be the same, but we could try if you wish.
Are you guys up for that?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Right on.
That's a symbolic act.
That is.
It is. I have no idea what comes through. I have no control. But we can try if you wish.
Okay.
Great.
See if I can lasso that again. See my screen. What am I doing? All right.
That's not what you want.
Shit, what am I going for here? I'm just trying to sort this out. Okay, we're going to here. Share. Where did my I cannot for the life of me know where to go for the video. This is crazy.
There's New Moon Zoom at the top there. Oh, you got a lot of New Moon Zooms. New Moon Zoom 12.
God, I'm not. Oh,
Here we go.
why is it not there?
No, that was it.
That's an empty folder for some reason.
Hmm.
This is weird.
What?
Can't go.
What?
There.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to here. Well, I'm sorry, you guys. I am totally befuddled here. This is crazy.
That's okay. Another time.
Yeah.
Back to meeting. Let's see that. Well, I can't even get back to our.
Where's your slides?
Yeah. Okay, participants. Share.
Start again. Start again.
Stop share.
Bin ich jetzt dabei?
Oh man.
It's not meant to be.
Well, my central intent is that it will be.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a challenge.
Are you trying
Yeah.
to get out? Are you trying to get out a share screen or?
Yeah. I'm not trying to get my group back together.
Because the group is here, but this seems like your share screen of this
Your share screen is not.
image, not the screen you want to share.
That's right.
Maybe you need to get out of this one and find it.
Bin ich
But
da,
get out of
bin ich da auch
Oh,
falsch
That
drin,
red,
oder?
the red one at
Was?
the top, the
Bin ich
red.
da drin?
stop share. Let's try that. Hey.
Hey,
Ja,
there-
ja.
There you are.
That's right, yay!
Hello, Barbara.
Hi! How are you?
I'm delirious, I think. There was a segment
God.
earlier on where I could not remember your name.
I
You know,
have a
stuff like
cold.
that.
Yeah, but I'm the same. I have a cold and I'm all dizzy and I'm totally gone. I don't know. Maybe that's a symptom.
Wow.
Let's see. Let's see.
What the heck's now going on?
Somebody-
Now you
Oh
wanna
my
draw?
God.
Now you're in the whiteboard. You're in the whiteboard.
Oh my God.
You're gonna draw us something.
But you're recording. You're
Here.
also on
So-
recording. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're recording all of this. I think there's gonna be some editing going on.
New moon stuff. New
Wow.
moon stuff.
Hello, Joanne.
So
Hi,
Dwayne,
Barbara.
with your showing the Saturnian ego, and then you showed the Uranian. What would be one word for that? Would it be ascension? So if ego is to Saturnian, would ascension be to Uranian?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
Oh God.
Well, Shirley was just going to, was she going to say the prayer or sing it or put music? I mean, that could be done we don't have to have a visual if she's sharing.
That's true.
The visual is what triggers.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Yeah, it's when I like I say when I witness something, that's when my guide kicks in. So I need to
Okay, yeah,
Didn't
okay.
see
yeah,
that. Sorry. Yeah.
So I'd like to
You know,
share a
if it happens
symbolic.
another time, I'll just pop my mic open. It might again. Who knows? Yeah.
I'll share a symbolic act. I removed all my subscriptions of news. It's very refreshing. And after 50 years, I think I was waiting for peace to break out and the news to come over. And I grew up in a very political family, but
Mm.
I've been able to let that go. And this 5 aha, showing my core purpose and central intent. First of all, I had to shed that and let that go because it has too much of a grip, and it's very Saturnian ego based. So, but it's very interesting to see how the social media tries to send me things to catch me after I've let this go. But now I'm seeing more gardening and more ocean things and other interests. So that was my symbolic act to let that go, because it ties in with this peace, finding peace. I'm not going to find it looking outward for it, and I've found it now in the positive intelligence that the peace is the way, and I'm involved in that and sharing that, and that has really, with this 5 aha, it's like my core purpose has shown up. There's simplicity around it. It's all showing up here, the foundation. And this time, this is a big part for me because this is my sign. I'm born on this 00 cusp, Aries, Pisces, Aries. So, and finding the balance, and that was taking away from my balance. So it only took me 50 years. So that's okay.
That's pretty good.
Sometimes you just gotta.
You don't want to rush into these things.
No, you gotta be patient. It feels really good.
It looks good on you.
Yeah, it feels very good. It's cools things down. It's helpful for more my Piscean than my Aries. My Aries doesn't need more fire. And
No.
looking at that stuff just gives me hives. Gives me fire I don't need, so I let that go. So it's very it feels very aligned at the moment with this. And the other thing I wanted to share was about this news of the news of the oceans, like these countries coming together through the UN and protecting the oceans that are outside the boundaries of these made up boundaries of the nations, like the open ocean. There's a big movement to protect that, the shipping lanes and things to keep the wildlife protected. And so for me, that was big. That was big news. And that's it from here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Maybe I'll pipe up here. I actually took my highlighter and, like Steve, courage, fire, more courage. And then there's the central intent and the focus, like burning off the dross. Very powerful time. I'm also in Aries, and the sun and moon both in Aries right now. And this is a very powerful day. But it's good to be reminded of having courage. I don't have really much to say. I've been through a low energy period. I get like that in winter. But I found this very encouraging, and as always, I really appreciate all the work you put into these presentations. This one was exceptional. It was really good. And that's about it for me at this point. I've got 3 pages of notes to look at. Cheers.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you. Sophia.
I find fascinating that the egg exercise. I know that the yolk part is 34% of the egg. And when I look at how the balancing happens, I always thought about that, how that can happen. And it just came when I was looking that obviously the yolk part has to really settle into the lower part of the egg to hold that balance. So I know that it's 34% of the yolk is part of the egg. The other thought form connected to that number is Pierre Teilhard de Chardin has a writing about saying that when the 33%, so I thought that's interesting, it's a very close number, and he telling us that when the 33% of consciousness, or the 33% of the 8 billion people, whatever is that, will be living out of this love and peace and unity consciousness, then the other 67% automatically will align. So I thought that interesting, the portion of the yolk, 34%, the portion of the consciousness need to be 33%. And I have heard a statistic recently somewhere that we are only at 5%. So I think we are going towards the 33%, and there is more work to do. And I have peace with it, that I just do what I do on working on myself, creating my workshops and seminars and presentations, participating, and just have fun with it and surrender that that's all what I can do. Working on me and bringing it forward and showing up in your presentation. Thank you, it's awesome. And another number came to me interestingly, is the 84 year of the orbit of the Venus.
Yeah.
And I have 3 books in the house. One is, of course, many Chinese medicine books, and they talk about this 84 cycle. It is like the first 28, and then 56, and then 84, like Chinese medicine talks about the 3 cycle of life. And then I have a chakra book, and that talks about exactly the same division of 7, 21, 14, 28, 56, 84. And then I have a spiral book, which of course the spiral book and talks about this life cycle, how our life goes in the cycle of after 56, and then it starts again 7, 14, 21, and to 84. So I'm just kind of fascinated that it almost doesn't matter where I look in my bookshelf, the same principle coming out. And then of course, I have my Hunapku book. That's no accident that I have been attracted to it. And then I have this book.
Yeah.
I just say is all of my books on my bookshelf goes with the principle. And
I love it.
yeah, and I think of the word on courage. Like I remember when I started to see these consciousness map, I was super excited to find it because there is a saying that what gets measured gets improved. So I I have several small groups, and I always give them this map of consciousness because I feel that once we can look at and measure it where we are at, and I when I look at the chart, I always felt that I said, courage must be a turning point. And then I am looking at many of my clients' participation, that I am noticing that character of courage to do something or not to do something or be aware or showing up is such a critical point. And me was born in the Chinese calendar as a tiger. So being a tiger, there is no shortage of courage. But it's very interesting to see that I am witnessing that there is shortage of courage. And I guess my mind, when I am listening to your presentation, my mind says, if a person wasn't born with courage, how a person can build that character? Because I'm really seeing on that chart now that is such a turning point. So thank you for showing it with your little submarine, showing it to the courage that can be an entry point. And then, of course, very interesting that we're talking about the balance and the 11. Today we are on the 11th path, and 11 is a portal. So I guess I am asking myself, so how a person can support other people to build courage to walk through that portal? Because sometimes I am noticing, and I am coaching my clients, that it's almost like there is a door, the door is open, but of course we don't know what is behind. We don't know exactly where we go. So that's where I feel that point of courage, of stepping towards that, whatever is unknown. So it's quite interesting to see, as you started this presentation, that is 11, and I always see 11 as a portal to taking us to a new level of consciousness. So thank you, and I don't know what is going to be our next 11 cycle, if you decide or if we decide, and that is where I am at today with all of these numbers in my head.
Thank you. I like those numbers. Awesome. Yeah.
To think about.
So yeah, have others thought about where we go from here? You have any ideas for yourself or for the group, suggestions?
Oh, I had a question. I just had a question to Barbara. When I look at the art, what Dwayne just shared with us, and I see, it looks to me one side is like a paper, the seal, and the other side is the art, which I heard that it's a silk painting. So I don't know, do you make cards of it, or how does it get presented?
Mm-hmm. And how do we get our hands on them?
What? Are you talking to me?
Yes.
I was asking you a question. Yeah, it didn't sound like a question.
Okay. I have a lot of my paintings on a platform called Redbubble, and they're available there. as postcards, posters, even on a cup or on a t-shirt. So that's the only way I sort of present the glyphs.
Okay.
That's the only way. And the silk is just hanging in my drawer and being the original, you know. That's how the original, you know, the duplication, I mean, it's there. Everybody can do it. So that for me, that was the best way of having very little work to do, because I don't have to print anything. I don't have to store anything. So a platform like that is really handy. And I made the effort to really learn how to put the stuff up. It's not so easy. You also have to have the right dimensions and, oh my God, you know, all these measurements. And I had to all learn this because I had no clue what it is and how it is. But then, you know, you're always happy when you say, oh my God, it worked. That's how I live all my life in a way. Because, yeah, well, it's like a business goal in a way, you know. You start a business and you have to sort of think how it can reach the other person so they can also have it, like the postcards, for example. Oh no, I have also like in the store here with my American friend. That's the only way I do printings here in the Pueblo in an Italian who prints that stuff. So it's reasonable. And she's years by years always selling my stuff, like whatever it is. Like I have also mermaids and dolphins, of course. So I have different things on the Redbubble platform.
So
And
we
you can have
we can
as
purchase
many.
it there? We can purchase it through Redbubble?
Yeah. And
Okay.
if you move it, you can move it via Facebook. It's possible, you know, you can sort of, and there's some people who extremely press it, and you have to be seeable. And I do that sometimes before Christmas, that I sort of start to put something up.
So we can go to Redbubble, Barbara Nins, and find
I
it?
can send the link. So
Okay.
you can, there's even a link, you know, it's very easy to get there.
Okay.
And it's all there.
We can put it
And
into the chat. Can you put it into the chat so we can have it?
I can put it in the chat later.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice place. It's like organized.
Mhm.
But I mean, there's nothing. If I would pay for the platform, right? You have to pay like a monthly fee and da da da. Then I could really make it work like a business kind of thing. But since I'm retired, I'm too lazy. I had to make business all my life, so now I'm sort of tired of it.
Mhm.
It's so, but it hangs in there, and it's I sort of put new stuff in there, like I might put the new numbers I just made, which I'm happy that I got into it, because I'm not a number person, but the Mayan glyph numbers sort of intrigued me to get into it, and I'm happy that I got into, because I found all this sweetness of the Mayan culture, and how good of they are to build a character. You know, it's like with very simple lines. It's not a lot of lines, but they catch the character. For example, let's say 11. This 11, now I can see people walking around who look like 11, because it's like the head form is the dissonance, which is the name of this 11. But dissonance is also like to get into to work out dissonance. So So it's like an invitation to look where you're not harmonious and where you sort of can work with disharmony to find maybe the place where things are not so in harmony. That's my explanation right now. But probably it's a lot more, because disharmony is very important for some reason, to make a step forward into another dimension, isn't it? Because it's like when you're standing on a cliff and your next step is to be made, you have to sort of be courageous, like you're saying, being courageous to make the next step and see if you can fly. Yeah. So that was the 11. So I got, from all these numbers, I got information. Like 4 is the 4 dimensions, and the phases are so incredible. It's and I'm getting deeper into the language of the Mayans. I'm having lectures, and it's so amazing. It's for an artist, because it's so artistic. The Mayan glyphs and also the writings are so intriguing, and it kind of has a harmony which sucks me into. And I say, oh my God, this is cool. This really is pleasant, or this comes really handy. It's amazing. So I'm into it, and I'm just I made the step. I'm diving into more and deeper into the theme of language, the Mayan language. And on this way, today, I found a video which I posted on Facebook about the language of the dolphins. Mi madre. It was like, wow, my hairs was standing up. And I said, wow, my God, they are doing it. So there is a possibility now to do with all this GPS chat and all kinds of devices, to find out what the dolphins are doing when they are sort of clicking. And maybe you can find it's very interesting. So that's also something to go deeper. And somehow humans are getting deeper in trying to understand the dolphins, because they mentioned that we have already, like us, they have a group dynamic, they have a family thinking, they have babies communicating, they have all the same kind of structure like we humans. So it just misses that we find out how they communicate. And this lady, she mentioned, okay, they communicate maybe for saying door, or they don't know what a door is, but for them it's maybe something else. Like with the Mayan language, they have this it's like you have to try to think a little around the corner to sort of feel what, maybe it's more feeling what they're saying, and then you can sort of go there and dig deeper what they maybe use for big waves or rocks or things we have in common with them. So yeah, I was really surprised that this came today into my information field. And maybe I attract, of course, you attract what you're looking for, If you don't see it, you oversee it. And this is how I use Facebook. Facebook is for me like a magic portal where I get my my information or my next inspiration. Many times I just stop scrolling and say, oh, I'm gonna just sketch this, So it's always how you see the world around you, or how you interact with it. but I'm like very Neptunian, and I'm very fantasy. So for me, it's easy to get to listen more to that part in me than the reality part. You know, this is why I was not really into numbers, because numbers for me was always like, what is it? You know, who is behind the numbers? And since I can see the faces, I'm like, yeah, there is a person, there is a character. And it's amazing. It's really amazing how correct the character comes into the picture.
Mhm.
So I will go on. It's like my research, my little private research.
Great.
Yeah,
You will go on
Nice.
Redbubble.
Thank you.
you're welcome. So yeah, that's something I can bring in, and I will definitely keep going to do it. So whenever there is like an interest of more information, because like when everybody has a little niche of information, that's maybe also like, you know, like you, Bruce, you could have your niche of interest, like whatever that is right now, since you left the newspapers or the information portal for you. So it could be whatever we sort of find useful is maybe useful for sharing in the group.
Mhm.
I think that does bring us to like with Dwayne's question, like what for all of us, like what, as this was his last presentation, like what do we see next? And just like Barbara was mentioning, like maybe time wise here we can't, but maybe if we set just a thought, set getting together next new moon, and maybe we then can discuss how we see it, unless we want to decide that in this moment, but at least see if
Yeah.
we want to at least take another step.
Mhm.
I would maybe see it as maybe one of us taking, like if we take turns, if we're going to continue, but a thought is one of us taking on the next new moon, if we decide that, to take it on as the host, and either bring forward a theme or be the host to let people, maybe there's a theme that we all contribute to, or I'm just throwing out thoughts.
Mhm.
and when we're
Yes,
together,
that's very innovative. We can do with the ideas, just throw out the ideas. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, I like your idea of the what each of us could bring. And I don't know if we need to take time and discover that in this, or, but I like that idea. And we could also, maybe somebody's just excited to be the first to go.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if we like Dwayne was doing it with the calendar, connected with the calendar. I don't know if we can do all this by organizing it and saying, okay, today is this and this and this, and maybe coordinated to this theme. Whatever you do nicely, or whatever you like, you are really blissful to wanting to do. You know, when you're sort of wanting to do something, then it always finds a way to fit even into concrete framework, like have the calendar be like a framework for whoever is sort of doing that. So
Mhm.
we don't lose our egg, our
Yes,
our form, you know. It's I
yes,
don't know how.
yes, and which calendar, the new moon calendar on my calendar
Yeah,
here,
of
or
course,
Dwayne's
of course,
calendar, or
of course. The new of the
Mayan calendar.
yeah, but the new moon we are
so we can
we started,
bring in,
right? So
yes, and
we
we
should
could bring in all
learn
of
how
them.
to do it. I don't know, but and Dwayne can help us. You know, he's not gonna be the main. He doesn't have to do all the work, but he can probably give us clearance by saying, okay, it's this is not, or this is yes, this is correct with the moon, or he can say, look, this is the dates, you know, who whatsoever, and now see if you can fit in your program into it, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah, so we could also find what's Dwayne's role
Mhm. Mhm.
in
What was
letting
that?
go of his.
Yeah, but because
I just wanted to
he's
say in Dwayne's presentation, this last one, just how condensed you've made it in a simplified form, and from day one to now, I've just really appreciated how you consolidated and brought that together to for speaking for myself to easily understand it.
yeah, but I think it's nice. The framework is really the calendar because that's like a measure. It's like kind of where we are at, and
Yeah,
it helps.
I'm
Right?
trying to get clear on which calendar you're speaking.
The new moon
New
calendar.
moon calendar. Okay, yes. So the new
Yeah.
moon date. Yes.
If we call it
Yes, because
if it's, let's refer to it as the lightning path calendar. That's going
Yeah, that
to
makes sense.
encompass it.
Right.
Okay.
And I think that's how this group started together anyway. And to me, I kind of like that. We can continue just our own personal, not Dwayne having to do a presentation, but kind of continuing on that so that the next, like we're in a
Yeah.
house right now, 5 a house. So the next moon would be 6, and we start at the beginning again, whatever that is. A how would be Emish would be the next one, but just that energetic that this is how this all started, and
Mhm.
we've been kind of
So
following.
it's grounding.
Yeah,
Sounds cool.
and it doesn't mean that Dwayne has to do the presentation and whatnot, but we're still kind of following that the calendar and the moons.
Okay, so I'm hearing, I like that we're following what Dwayne has created, and then we can bring in what we want to bring in, which applies to the calendar in our lives.
Yeah.
Yes, I like that.
I like that. And I'm curious. I like to throw wrenches and things sometimes. We have 11 theories, yet there is 13 moons in a cycle. So I would propose that Dwayne do 2 more to complete the cycle. So we have a complete cycle of 13. And then we move on like Joanne had said, and the rest of us and the rest of you had talked about, then follow the moons through another cycle, and that the moons give us, I feel like the moons give us a grounding, and then like you said, Steve, then that's the grounding, and then we speak too as we take turns doing it. I know. Yeah. Anyway, that's my thought.
Yeah, I like that you're using the moons to ground each particular one, and then and we're bringing our own creativity to that and presenting it. And I'm not certain quite how that looks for myself, but I don't know if anybody has other ideas.
Well, yeah, I like that, Steve. Like that's how I'm kind of feeling too. That we each then what is, you know, where are we at in our lives? What is happening? What does this mean? What is this new moon bringing? Or where have I been? Yeah, so we're each bringing our own individual, lives into the mix, and what comes, and what comes from that.
I like that whole idea, and I wonder if there's some kind of example with Dwayne having done it, presenting it for an hour, and I only have 5 minutes worth.
I'll challenge
That's
that.
So I guess I'm.
And it's also a problem with the having the Zoom kind of thing and the knowledge how to move the whole theme of, because that's also like something what is not so easy to you know, have all your information, and you can't just hold up a paper saying, look, this is it. You know, you have to also sort of be able to maneuver the presentation platforms or something.
Yeah, I like that idea, but is it
wouldn't
also
know
okay is it also okay if we just hold up a paper?
maybe we should have maybe we have
So-
to let it be open. Yeah, that's true.
And,
Yeah.
and
So
I
it
think
sounds like we're looking for creating content,
yeah.
and
well, wouldn't it, if we're going with the Mayan calendar and the moon, and if it was chosen that, okay, the next new moon, and then I would think time-wise, like if each one of us then presents or has has time to kind of talk or present what they're going through or thoughts or inspiration, and that would take up time. Like, look at there's how many, 2, 4, 6, 7 of us right here, like, and there was the aspect of, this, however, we're heading into this 2 hours right here with Dwayne. So there was that talk about if each, like if I were to be the, when I say host, what I mean is set it up, that then for me it would be a 40-minute, like, because I haven't bought more time. So it would be a 40-minute Zoom. It would be in a time frame.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Well,
that's okay. And afterwards we can talk, or we, have a discussion.
Dwayne could still invite us, couldn't you? Or is that a problem, Dwayne?
No, I don't see that as a problem.
Yeah. Time wouldn't be an issue.
What are your thoughts, Dwayne?
Well, I really like where this is going. I could easily continue to host, let's say, host the group, and then assign to whoever wants to be a presenter, assign them as a co-host. So then they have there's all the tools at their disposal, and I'm just quietly in the background.
Yeah.
Or not so quietly, it depends. But it's also, I like what Joanne has brought up, because this is an opportunity for her. If we did work with just her, 40 minutes or whatever, that's a big learning for her. She's got that skill more under her domain. So, I mean,
I'm hearing
theoretically each one of us should be able to host a meeting. Let's put it that way.
Oh, okay.
Using
So
this tool.
saying if she wants to do a 40-minute, then we just have a 40-minute meeting. She does her presentation and we share. Or we could all go out and Joanne could start up another meeting. We rejoin.
That's true. That's true.
So we have the first part where we speak. The second part, we all leave, take a break, have some water, come back
Exactly.
and
There
come
you
back
go.
and come back and talk about it.
Right on.
So that's a possibility. Okay, so then it's in everybody's own hands.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's one.
Decentralized.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. It's more accommodating.
So then I hear that, and about people, what's coming up for me is about people showing up. Then I guess I can present to Dwayne, or I don't know if Dwayne doesn't have control of the meeting, then how do we know who's going to show up for it? And I guess I just need to be okay with practicing sharing myself if nobody showed up, because we don't have a commitment. Because I've noticed sometimes there's just 3 of us, and that's okay. But I just feel that. Is there a commitment?
Yeah, but the videos are recorded and people can see whatever you said even later, or because I've seen Dwayne's videos. There have been almost 100 people watching it with whatever he did. We have to sort of,
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know.
I hear that it can go out
Just-
to the world, but
Well,
as who I'm presenting to,
is
if there's
yeah,
2 or
to
3
everybody
people,
who's
it's just that
resonating.
I guess I could feel I'm presenting to 100 people and I have 3 people live.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's like the resonance, it's like the dolphins.
Mhm.
They if they're when they're talking, probably they don't whisper just so the only group hears it. So probably the other dolphins also get it and say, "Oh my God, they're so noisy, these neighbors."
Yes.
Noisy neighbors. Let's go and have a look what they're up to.
Hmm. So I could possibly invite some dolphins.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay.
Hmm.
So broadening who's seeing my presentation versus
Now,
just relying on people showing up for it. Okay. I feel that now.
But did my mind went off zinging somewhere else. I was on Dwayne saying that I think was saying he could still, he's got our contact, he could still initiate the link for all of us to join on the next new moon.
Mm-hmm.
Is it my understanding? And then
Yes,
he will have appointed a what did you call that? A co-host.
co-host.
Did I get that right? Is that what we're thinking?
Yeah, yes. And we went beyond that to where you could also just start your own Zoom meeting yourself and invite all of us. So there's that option as well, so that,
Like
as
over.
Wayne said, we decentralize him having to be.
But I don't pay Zoom. So you're paying Zoom. I don't pay Zoom. So I don't know if I have the options. Do I have to pay for it then, or?
No, you have 40 minutes free.
Oh, right. Without being signed up or anything.
Right, and then it just cuts off at 40 minutes, and then, as I suggested, we could rejoin after we take a break.
Cool.
For
Cool.
another
That sounds
40.
really like a wave through the waves. So
I guess
because I don't even know how to make but we all have like we are standing on the cliff and see where the next step is. So maybe that's
we're
our
on
next
the
step.
we're on the cusp of courage here.
Yeah, to do a Zoom presentation.
So that could be a first presentation.
Oh my God, that's the jump. It's really like standing in front of the Syrian.
That's the power of the spring equinox, is new birth and jumping off the edges of cliff. With courage, Sophia says, and in total faith.
Yeah.
So there's a few titles we could present.
There's quite a few.
Yeah,
to-
and I mean,
how to start Zoom.
we don't have to evaluate it, you know. It's just like everybody presents like they can do it, you know. It's like, why should we say this was very good or this was very bad
Right.
or this? We can talk about it, but first we shouldn't take our courage away.
We don't we don't have to judge it.
Yeah,
Right on.
Yeah.
judge is also
Sophia?
Saturn, setting.
So
Sophia.
Sophia.
Sophia has her hand
Hearing
up.
rule number one, no judgment. Just appreciation.
Yeah, because sometimes little things are very, you know, they are triggering sometimes more than really big, huge nothings, you know.
Mhm.
Sophia, you
Yeah, I thought I thought that there is 7 of us. So the question is that do we want to commit to a date, like as Barbara says, that we have a framework, and of course now it will be April, May, June, July, August, September, October. So that would be totally seven new moons. So we could ask ourselves, I ask myself, am I willing to commit to one of those new moons and commit to a presentation which I could bring, a piece of paper or something fancy, doesn't matter. But then I would commit to that day to show up. Even if nobody else show up, that's okay.
Yeah.
Then I hear that Dwayne still could send out the link, and then we don't have to exchange all of the information to create the link. So to me, that would be if Dwayne would be willing to send out the link as he does for New Moon, I would be willing to commit to one of the new moon, and I'm gonna look at my calendar. What is the new moon in each month? There is usually only one new moon per month,
Mhm.
and then the question is that that way we could have the opportunity to keep it in new moon. Maybe the presenter who would commit to a date choose the Mayan calendar or could choose something different. And then on the end of the seventh time, that would be October new moon, that would be the last one. Then we'll decide what is the next step. So something when I am listening to all of us, it seems like the Zoom link, a presentation, the date, the new moon, the Mayan calendar. So I feel that, as I said, I would love if Dwayne can send it out, and I would be willing to commit to a date, and I would do a something presentation, either very sophisticated or just bring a piece of paper or just bring myself. So that's what my proposal is.
Yeah.
sounds good.
What I like about that is the idea that Dwayne still has that beautiful
These are good.
setup for showing the new moon Zoom and the lightning path to put it out
Yeah,
there.
that's true.
So that's a beautiful
And then we can be
starting point. And then to co-host from that is simple. And then Dwayne, you just have to sit back.
That feels good.
That's a possibility.
Grandpa could use a little rest here.
Yeah. Well, I see this 5 is really resonating with me, so I'll volunteer to go first.
good.
There you go.
I was thinking, how are we going to do the straw thing now?
So that means
Who's
that
gonna
you're gonna be
put the
the
straw?
presenter in April.
Yes, I have no idea
Okay.
when, I don't have any idea when the date is or what it is, but
Yeah,
I'll,
that's okay. So Steve, I am taking notes. Steve is for April. I am volunteering for May. So Sophia is for May. Who is next for June?
Yeah.
We have to decide this in this moment, or
Yes, indeed, because then we know how it goes. Yeah.
I can
Yes.
take the June, and then you, Juan, you have to.
this is
What
about courage. Today is about
June.
courage.
It's about courage to jump in, dive in.
June, it's cancer time.
June is Barbara, okay.
July.
July, Joanne.
Nice.
Yeah. Rhyme with your name, Joanne, July. And we have August, September, and October.
I'll do October.
Okay, October, Shirley. At that time, hopefully you're gonna be in your new home, settled in, set up
I'm-
your.
I'm still putting it out there. I'm still looking at end of April. I still haven't a clue where I'm going, when I'm going, or where to.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Send you
So
courage.
yeah. Yeah. I have the area sorted out. So
Mhm.
somewhere in the interior between Chase down to maybe south of Vernon, like Coldstream, somewhere along there. So that's kind of the area that I'm looking at. But yeah, and we'll see what happens. Still jumping off that cliff. So
Very cool.
yeah.
We have September and August open.
Mhm.
I'll be honest, I don't think I'm able to commit to this. I don't think, I think it's something, I don't like making sudden decisions. Being an Aries, I do that a lot, and I regret it a lot. So at this point, I can't commit.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
No problem.
that's acceptable.
So that means that Dwayne has to do 2 months. I am committing Dwayne for 2 months.
August, September,
Um,
okay. We'll see what comes up in.
No way, man. Let's just
Well,
get the
maybe
ball rolling here.
Yeah.
it'll take care of itself.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
So
that's how I
August and
felt. too.
September are still open, and we may have someone new show up.
yes.
Yeah, there's
So that leaves space for them.
So also, if somebody can't do his presentation, mean, we can all communicate and exchange, saying, okay, I can't do June. Can you do it? And I take your space. So that's
Yeah.
also open.
Yeah.
You could trade.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
we go month by month, like each new moon we're in.
Yeah, if you have
exchange
no
music.
time because you have to move, or you are for vacation, you say, I can't really do it. It's like not working. So you can change, and then we have September perfectly, you know, as it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Escape the
As
whole.
long as we don't use it as an avoidance mechanism.
Yes.
Yeah, we are grown up enough, I think, for that.
Oh, good. I'm glad you are.
For yourself, Barbara.
So, Dwayne,
I always do.
did you choose any, or did you choose any of August or September?
It's
no.
No.
there's,
No.
there's Sophia. Is she what's her sign? Is she a Virgo or in control?
No, she likes
She's
to
a
have a calendar
Organized?
so
Okay.
people can plan. Yeah.
I'm
It's
just like to
plan-
ask
It's
questions.
nice to plan
I am
life.
not in control. Did you notice that I'm not in control? I'm just asking questions.
Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, we're getting some level of organization here.
Yes.
What happened?
Because it's 11 o'clock, so the time is up.
Yeah.
So
Right.
there is a certain framework, as Barbara said, we have a framework, and the framework is a time as well.
Yes. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, good job.
So
Yeah.
Steve and I will be in communication and get this coordinated for ourselves for this first venture coming up.
Very good.
Yeah, I'll show up and you make me co-host and
Yeah,
Wonderful.
then
we'll get your,
then I'll start presenting and
Yeah,
we'll just
put it out
go
to the
from there.
world.
Yeah,
excellent.
good.
Congratulations.
Good
We
one,
got a
you guys.
plan.
Thank you so
It's
much.
happening.
Thank
all
you,
the
everyone.
support.
Thanks, Dwayne.
Bye-bye.
Excellent
Love you guys.
Yeah, have a good
Bye-bye.
month.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Wayne.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Dwayne. That was great. That
My
was
pleasure. Love it.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
We are